Located between Chinatown and Fisherman's Wharf is another one of San Francisco's deeply historic neighborhoods, Little Italy. And naturally, it would have some of the most authentic Italian restaurants in the neighborhood. Today, we're gonna mange some of the best Italian fare. San Francisco's Little Italy goes as far back as 1906 when the Italian immigrants settled here after the Great Earthquake. Over the past century, it was central to the beatnik Cultural Revolution, which was the precursor to hippies and now hipsters. Nowadays, it's best known for its nightlife, including the bars, popular comedy clubs, and of course, the red light district on Broadway. Naturally, this makes it very popular with out-of-towners, and much like Chinatown, it's become kind of touristy and commercialized. But don't despair. There are definitely still little pockets of true Italia here and there, and today we are going to scope them out, both the old and the new. So andiamo. Let's get on to the first course. As is the Italian way, we always start off first with a little bit of an aperitivo. Actually, this is a bit of a cheat. We're going to 15 Romolo Place, which is a sherry speakeasy with Basque influences. But that's somewhat near Italy, right? So we'll allow for it. Actually, a little bit of long-lost SF history. This narrow corridor separating Chinatown and Little Italy used to be Basque-town in the 60s before the Broadway strip joints took over in the 90s. Bar manager Ian Adams heavily weaves manzanilla into the drink offerings. Manzanilla is a very esoteric Spanish sherry that's reminiscent of chamomile. Keeping to our Italian theme today, we are going to order the vodka crayon, which has Campari in it. Campari is a traditional Italian liqueur bitter that is dark red in color. The crafting of Campari is a closely held trade secret, but many believe that it's an infusion of chinota fruit and herbs, and the dark red color comes from cochineal insects. Yes, I said insects. Campari is a traditional Italian aperitivo, and usually it's drunk watered down with tonic or orange juice, which is my personal favorite. In addition to Campari and manzanilla, the vodka crayon also includes vodka, cranberry juice, lemon, and another esoteric liqueur called chartreuse, which is made by the Carthusian monks in France. Cheers. So smooth, sweet, just like a sherry cocktail, but with that little bite from the Campari. I can hardly taste the alcohol in that. Probably pretty easy for me to down that in like 3 seconds flat. I love that it's in this little sherry glass. So good. I'm ready now for the antipasto. At the Liguria Bakery in Stockton, the Sirocco family has been producing focaccia since 1911. Now worked by fourth-generation Siroccos, the bread is made every morning at 7:30 in their original brick oven, and the bakery shuts down when the last piece is sold. So come early for the best variety. Bring cash, as credit cards are not accepted. Once you've got your focaccia, you can take it across the street to Washington Park to eat. This is probably one of the simplest, but in my opinion, best tasting Italian breads. It's just the flour, salt, yeast, olive oil, and water dough that has been rested and then spread out onto a big pan using your fingers, which is why it has all those pockmarks all over it. But with their volume, Liguria has a custom-made hand roller to make the pockmarks for them. There are plenty of flavors to choose from. The 4 original varieties are plain, raisin, onion, and pizza. Over the years, they've added some more contemporary, read not-so-Italian offerings, including the garlic rosemary mushroom and the jalapeno cheese. I'm gonna stick to tradition and try the pizza and the raisin focaccia, which is not so usual here in the US. That's really nice. It's dense and yet at the same time quite light. And you'll notice that the crumb inside, which are all the holes that the yeast makes when it's rising, are quite even throughout. And there's a great little layer of salt underneath the tomato sauce, or it's actually more of a paste because it's very rich and thick and tangy. And I love the green onions, which are very, very fresh and still kind of crunchy. Okay, let's try a bite of the raisin focaccia. Yum. Look at all those plump, juicy raisins in there. This one is so different from the pizza, whereas that one is much richer and heartier. This one's got a really clean taste to it. You can taste that sponginess of the focaccia in this one, and then it's accented with a little bit of sweet from the raisins. Perfect. I love that they bake the bread so it's just a little bit crunchy and crusty on the outside. It kind of eats a little bit more like a breakfast bread. Between the two, this one's my favorite. And now, to the main event. You can't do an Italian Eats episode and not include pasta. Off the beaten path is Trattoria Contadina. It was started about 30 years ago by the Carenti family, and it is still being run today by the third generation Carentis, Gina and Kevin Carenti. This is a cozy, home-style Italian eatery with more hearty marinara-style fare. Although when Kevin did take over in 2012, he updated it with more modern touches like organic ingredients and more innovative cuisine. They're best known though for their pasta, which is fresh, hearty, and rich. And if you decide to come here for an aperitivo, Kevin does a mean Negroni. Their motto is leave all your problems at the door, come in and eat well. Their most popular pasta dish is the carlesimo, which is made with a rigatonicelli, which is a small tube-shaped pasta, pancetta, in a spicy cream tomato sauce. But I thought I'd do something a little bit different today and get the Il Diavolo instead. That means the devil, and it's spicy. It's made with a penne pasta and something called nuggia, which is like a salami, but mushed very, very fine. That's mixed into the tomato sauce. And it's also got onion, basil, and burrata, which is a form of mozzarella cheese. Oh my God, so delicious. That sauce has just a little bit of fire and goes really well with the creaminess of the burrata and the freshness of the basil. The nuggia is very subtle and you can pick up hints of it here and there as you eat the sauce. This is definitely a recommended must try. And for the vegetarians, I'm getting the cheese ravioli, which is made with 5 different types of cheeses. And it's served with a pumpkin and squash cream sauce and some arugula and sage in it. In between the pillowy pasta is Asiago, Parmesan, Fontina, Mozzarella, and Romano. That sauce is so beautiful. It's got the sweetness of the pumpkin in it, and yet it's so rich and creamy. It goes super well with the ravioli, which is very, very light. Pasta and the cheese filling just literally melt in your mouth. And that arugula with its slight bitterness is the perfect foil. Again, another must order. That was yummy, but I am not done yet. We're headed just down the street for our second main course at Molinari Deli. Usually sandwiches are considered an antipasto, but because of the sheer heft and size of these bad boys, I'm upgrading them to a secondo. This uber popular Italian deli is the oldest out west and has been in operation since 1896 when PG Molinaro moved out here from Piedmont, Italy. It's still owned by the same Italian family, now in its 4th generation. They make over 30 varieties of salamis, sausages, and sandwich meats, and they are so popular they're now carried all over the nation under the PG Molinari brand. Ordering here is a bit of a ritual. First, take a number, then peruse and pick your bread. Then step up to the plate and get your sandwich stuffed. Then pay for your sandwich and take it out here to some of the tables where you can eat it. The prosciutto is super lean and cut paper thin. This is a piece of the pork that's from the thigh region, and it's typically cured raw. The coppa is a suruma that is made with 2 different types of meats, generally cooked, and usually from the neck and the shoulder region. You can order the spicy or the mild coppa. I got the spicy one, but it's not too hot at all. Let's take a bite of this big boy. The most important thing about deli meats is the quality of the cuts, in which this case is very high quality. So there's very little need to over-season it or do anything to really bring out the natural taste of the meat itself. And it also comes with a fresh mozzarella for that creaminess and a sun-dried tomato for that concentrated sweetness, which both kind of cut the saltiness of the meat. And if you're a vegetarian, they have that kick-ass eggplant parmesan salmon. There's nothing better than finishing with a little dolce or sweet just down the street. Back in 1880, a Cavalli company was a little print shop and bookstore serving Italian immigrants. In 2006, Santo Esposito, himself a new immigrant from Naples, Italy, bought the shop and turned it into a cafe. So this is the owner, Santo. And Santo, hi.
Hi, how are you?
So you started this business how long ago?
2006, that's 13 years in June.
Santos is also a professionally trained chef and turns out some of the best desserts in North Beach, including tiramisu and, in the summertime, panna cotta and chocolate mousse. But the thing to get is the cannoli, which Santo fills upon order with a delicious ricotta cheese filling, chocolate chips, and a homemade orange sauce that contains orange zest to it.
I make my ricotta fresh every day, and I make a small batch every time, so it doesn't sit around because it's fresh cheese. You're not supposed to sit around. I change the flavor right away.
That's quite phenomenal. The shell is nice and thick and crunchy, breaks fairly easy to the touch when you cut it with a fork. And the ricotta filling is really wonderful. It's nice and fresh and very dense and creamy. And I love it with the bitterness of the chocolate chips and the orange zest. So you know, Italians don't drink milky coffee drinks after noon. So I am going to get an espresso straight, or un caffè por favore, because espressos are the standard Italian drink.
Truly Italian because I've been doing since I'm 14 years old. I use very good beans, very high quality. I know how to pour it, and most important, the maintenance of the coffee machine. So it will pour a nice espresso, creamy and perfect.
That's the perfect shot. Dark, creamy, and oh so nicely bitter. And of course, the perfect way to end the meal. Cavalli Cafe is also an excellent place to do a little bit of people watching. So I'm going to sit here with my espresso and enjoy a little bit. Thanks for eating with me, and until next time.